Welcome to the Community Center Building Committee meeting of October 14th, 2024. Until further notice, all building committee meetings, following the guidance issued by the state in 2020 regarding the open meeting law, this public meeting will be held remotely, and individuals wishing to participate may do so by utilizing Zoom video conference technology. To join the meeting by video conferencing using a computer, tablet, or phone, please refer to the Town of Dover website for instructions. This meeting is being recorded. I'll do a roll call of committee members present. David Billings.
Here.
Luciana Berti.
I'm here.
Barry Goldman.
Yes.
And Ruth Townsend.
Yes.
Okay, so we're all here, which is wonderful. So we've got a couple of agenda items. One is the approval of minutes, which is the second order of business on the agenda. We will not do. We haven't had time to review the minutes. And the other agenda item, which we will not be considering tonight, is the number 7 additional service proposals from Colliers and from Fenwick McCready. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Colliers project leaders, the town's Lawrence project manager, and that's Al Estevez.
Thank you, Dick, and thank you everyone for joining. Happy Monday. I am gonna just go ahead and turn it over to you, Eagly, to walk us through the construction progress.
Yeah, hey, good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. So a little bit of progress through September, going through the project. So the big ticket item that happened in September was the fire protection tanks that were installed right outside the gym, which we'll see a couple pictures of a little bit later on down the slide deck. But that was one of the big ticket items that happened safely, and it was a successful install. Moving down to the pavilion, so rough inspections have been completed. I had this as a note here on the pavilion, but rough inspections have been completed throughout the entire building. That includes rough MEPs and rough framing, along with the insulation, in-wall insulation that's been inspected on the exterior walls. So the exterior brick veneer started on the pavilion in September. As of last week, they were about 85% installed on the pavilion, expecting them to be done within the next week to week and a half with that brickwork. The windows were completely installed in the pavilion, and the insulation, as I said, was completed on the exterior walls, and they started bringing in the material for the demising walls. Moving down to the gym, so ductwork install was completed in the gym area. The HVAC contractor is going to be working on installing the RGDs in the next couple of weeks. The exterior brick veneer work has been completed in the gym area, and they're working on the low roofs on either side of the gym, which we'll see in a couple of the pictures as the slides go through. And in the connector, drywall has begun. Wall boards have been hung, and they have begun taping on the second floor. Moving to the 1910 building. So as I said, rough inspections have been completed. Spray foam insulation has been installed, and drywall has begun to get installed, and a little bit of taping has begun. Mainly on the second floor. So on the second floor, the windows were also installed, and they're being trimmed out on the exterior. And along with that, the exterior repointing of the brick is for the most part completed, and has begun to be washed down on the 1910 building. Some progress to date in October. Insulation is being installed in all areas and all framed walls at the moment. Hanging of drywall is going on throughout, and then the exterior masonry wash down in the 1910 is ongoing. And then some upcoming activities that we're tracking at the moment. We're prepping and pouring for the generator pad and the fire protection tank pad. Expecting that to happen within the next week to week and a half. Completion of the window installs. We're still missing a couple windows in the 1910 to be installed on the first floor. And then taping of drywall as it gets completed, and expecting the brick veneer to finish as well in the next couple of weeks. And then the start of interior finishes. Al, if you want to hit the next slide, we can go through some pictures of the construction progress. So on the left, just some exterior progress on the pavilion. The veneer brick is pretty close to being done there. The windows have also been installed in that area, and on the right hand side, this is just the exterior of the gym. So the gym structure itself, the veneer brick has been completed, but the masons are working on the mechanical room, which is on the left, and then I can't really see it on this picture, but they're also working on the other side of the little roof where the elevator shaft is for veneer brick. And then the next one is just some progress of the 1910 building. So the second floor windows have been completely installed and begun to get trimmed out. And then in this picture, you can actually see the mason doing a wash down of the brick that was repointed. And then some progress in the kitchen, in the pavilion on the left, on the right-hand side picture. Wallboard is starting to be hung. All the ductwork has been wrapped and all of the piping has been wrapped in insulation and labeled. Similar in the pavilion building interior as well. As you can see, prepping for installation and drywall, and moving through for fire protection, rough as well. And then in the right-hand side, spray foam insulation has been installed in AV bead in the 1910 building on the first floor. The stair one brick has been infilled. This area, which Al was actually pointing to, I believe it was an entryway or some sort of a corridor previously, and it's been infilled with CMU and then repointed with salvage bricks. So that's been completed. And then on the right-hand side, just some progress of the electrical room. That's ongoing. Moving to the second floor, the connector. So drywall has been hung and begun taping, starting to close up some of the walls there. And then frames for the windows, the interior windows have been installed as well. And then in the gym, the ductwork has been installed. Just going to be working on finishes here and installing the rest of the RGDs for the ductwork. In the left picture, so exterior trim progress of the 1910. They're working on getting those windows completed. And in the right-hand side, just some second floor progress of the wall, the drywall being hung, and closing up walls in the 1910 as well. Rough MEPs completed and installation being done on the first floor of the 1910 on the left-hand side. And then just staging for drywall install on the 1910 first floor as well. And on the left is just a shot of the fire protection tanks being installed. Everything went smoothly with this install with both picks, which was great. And the team did a great job of getting these in a quick fashion. And then on the right-hand side, they are fully roughed in and backfilled. And that is it for construction project progress at the moment. Any questions? I'll turn it over to Al for the construction schedule.
Thanks, Igley. So on the construction schedule, the last schedule that we have is from September 19th that shows the contractor achieving substantial completion by where is that here? By the beginning of January, so January 7th, and then final completion towards the beginning of February. We still have not received a delay claim or a correct plan. Still working with town legal counsel on next steps. Every pay up that we get, we reach out to them and ask them what what they recommend. And we're withholding $147,000 from the general contractor from their general conditions until these documents are provided. Any questions on the schedule?
Yeah, Al, can you kind of update us on the paving schedule? Concern is getting sidewalks and paving done before winter.
Yeah, paving. So the big part was getting those fire protection tanks installed. So that's completed now. And the next step, they're going to start. I believe there's still a little bit of underground storm piping that's remaining. But the plan is to proceed with the pavement this year.
Do they have any milestone dates that we can track to? We only got about a month left before the asphalt plants close. And, it's getting more difficult to pour concrete sidewalks.
Yeah,
I'd like to see if there's a more definitive schedule over the next, 4-week look ahead on exactly how they're going to make the paving schedule.
Yeah, so based on the September 19th schedule, this is almost a month. It looks like they were going to start on the, towards the end of October with the base and the binder, and then completing that pavement by the middle of November.
Okay, based on where they are, do you see that actually happening?
I think so. Yeah, they still have to work through some of the storm. There might be a week or a couple of weeks up, but the fire protection tanks are installed. They're going to proceed with the finish grade after that, and then they should be good to go on the pavement.
All right, just something I would recommend you keep track of and see if we can get a hard date out of O'Connell on when they're gonna pave.
Yep, we'll ask that tomorrow at the OAC meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else on the schedule? Okay, moving into the budget report, column B. This is the transfers. We had 2 transfers during the month of September. One of them was for the $11,000 and change for the furniture package that was approved by the Board of Selectmen, and the other one was for the PCOs that were also recommended for approval by the building committee last Monday, and then subsequently approved by the Board of Selectmen on Friday. As far as the invoices, those are highlighted in column D1. I'll go over what those are in a couple of slides. We had the general contractor. We included the invoice or deposit rather from the furniture package in here. So that was a change. We have the architect, the OPM's invoice. We have a commission, MEP commissioning agents invoice for the month of September. And then we also have the storage containers. Worst case scenario, column E, we are looking at $473,000 in potential exposure. That's worst case scenario. If those, we're working through a lot of these right now, but should all that be approved, we're looking at a 52% remaining contingency, which is 1.28 million left. Any questions on the overall budget? All right, we can dig into some of the details now. This is just a history of all the PCOs that have been approved on the project to date. These ones here in bold are the ones that were recommended for approval by the building committee last Monday, and then subsequently approved by the Board of Selectmen. So that's captured. We're at $632,000 in change orders. Now, looking at the potential change orders, we are working through all of these. There's the three that are highlighted in blue are the ones that I want to present to you guys today for approval and recommendation. These are related to the fence at both Fort Whiting Road as well as Center Street. PCOs number, what you'll see with PCOs number 59 and 61, those are for the same fence. For some we just received these PCOs a couple hours ago, so I did get a chance to look at them, but these two are the same thing, 59 and 61. One is for the credits for the fence that was originally owned in the contract. So the total value of these two are essentially like 17,000 and change. So we can go ahead, actually have them open so we can look into those. And we do have unit prices for some of these, and so the credits are per the unit prices that we have established in the contract. So there's no ambiguity in that. So let's look at, we can start with Fort Whiting Road. The change order includes, where's the, it's about 200, I'll say around 250 linear feet of 8-foot wood fence. And then it also includes a transition into Whiting Road that per the zoning bylaws needs to slope down to a 3-foot high for the first 15 feet of the frontage or the front setback rather. And so that's all calculated into this number. And again, the total of that comes out to $34,000. The credits associated with this change was $16,000. And that is based on the unit prices in the contract of $68 per linear foot. I believe that these numbers are, per the contract, fair and reasonable, and we'll recommend that it be approved. Dick, do you want me to go into the other one now, or should we discuss this one first?
Yes, why don't you go on to the other one?
So then the other one, and actually, you know what, I'm gonna pull up, it's not attached. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is what we sent over to the contractor to price the PCOs. So looking at the green line here, that's a section of the 8-foot fence, followed by a section, an 8-foot section where you slope down to 3 feet for the first 15 foot of the fence at Fort Whiting Road. That's the one that I just presented. And then the other one, PCO number 60 for Center Street, 63 Center Street. It's essentially this one, the contract documents called for the existing chain link fence here to be removed. And for a good reason, it's in pretty bad shape. There's an existing wood fence here that is the abutters, George Doherty. And essentially what towards the beginning of the project, I've had a chance to talk to George Doherty about the scope of work that was going to happen here. And he had a concern that if we remove that chain link fence, that would essentially expose his fence to potential damage if there's kids playing here and whatnot. And so he asked if we could look into providing a fence, and we did an initial takeoff at the beginning of the project. Estimate was around $60,000. We have a unit price in the contract, and that was presented to the building committee. The decision at the time was it was early on in the project. We don't know where we're going to be on contingency, later in the project. So let's wait on it. So right now, the reason why we're presenting these fence PCOs is because the contractor is getting ready to mobilize the fencing subcontractor. And so with, I think it's a good time to look into this one. The cost for that new fence along that entire line, that will be a 4-foot high chain link fence coated in black vinyl, just like the other chain link fence in the project. And like I said, we have a unit price in the contract. So it's a fairly straight math. So it's $80 per linear, $80 per linear foot, 193 linear feet. It's about 15,400, 16,000 with the markups.
Now, how tall is the existing chain link fence there?
It's a 4-foot fence.
The existing is 4 foot? Okay, I thought it was taller. All right.
Is there any other discussion on these fences?
Has this been talked with both abutters that it's impacting?
Yes.
Okay. So they both have approved this?
Sorry.
Yeah, I received a call from George Doherty. That was like a couple of weeks ago, and I said, he just wanted to touch base
Okay.
again on this fence, and I said, yeah, we'll present. I think it's a good time to present it to the building committee. We're getting pretty close to these activities taking place.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Any other questions, comments about these fences? Okay, now what were the numbers, could you go to the PCO page? There we go. So is there a motion to recommend for approval to the Board of Selectmen PCO 59, for Whiting Road fence, $34,141.47. PCO 60, 63 Center Street, a butter fence replacement at $16,537.86. And PCO 61 for Whiting Road credits of $16,320. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, I will do a roll call vote. David Billings,
Yes.
Luciana Berti,
yes.
Barry Goldman,
Yes.
Ruth Townsend,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. Thank you.
Okay.
Next, Val.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on, we got the soft cost, no changes there. Dick, I know you mentioned that we're gonna postpone presenting the ad services proposals until we answer we have the questions answered. The one thing I do want to note here is that as of the end of October, Collier's fee is essentially the 26-month duration, and the fees it's essentially going to be exhausted as of the end of October. So contingency, like I mentioned, worst case scenario, say all the potential change orders are, if they were to be approved, that includes the ad services proposals. We would have about 1.28 million left in contingency. That's about 52% of its original value of 2.4. Any questions? Okay, looking at the invoices, we have 5 invoices for the month of September. General contractors invoice number 15, that's for $2,066,000. We have the Colliers, our invoice. Now, this number here, that's the number that's reflected as per the additional services proposal. Dick, you and I had a chance to talk about this one earlier. And I know that because we are postponing presenting these 2 ad services proposals, this number, the billing committee is not going to vote on this number, rather on our fixed monthly value of $21,154 per our original contract. So we can, I'm not sure how to do the language on that one, but we can present it that way, I guess, when the voting happens.
We'll amend it.
And then we have FMA's September invoice. That's for $27,009. We have R.W. Sullivan's invoice as the MEP commissioning agent for $5,000. And we have our typical monthly container rental of $398. I've reviewed all these invoices against the contract terms, and they are in line with the fee schedule, and I recommend and in line with the work in place, and I recommend that they be approved or recommended for approval.
Okay, well, thank you, Al. Is there, so we would be, with Colliers Project Leaders, that invoice amount would be amended from $29,588 to $21,154, which has been their monthly billing rate for the past year. Is there any discussion, comments on these, invoices?
I just know we haven't seen them, but I don't want to hold up payment, but I would appreciate us having an opportunity to review these before the meeting.
Yeah, understood, David. We just got the contractors late on Friday, and had to go back and forth on that one a little bit. So I'm gonna try to get it to you guys
All right.
before I say have a chance to review. And Dick, I updated this number 21,154. So this is the actual value with that number updated.
Okay, thank you for doing that. Any other comments? Questions on invoices? Okay, if not, is there a motion to approve September invoices in a total amount of $2,120,056.27?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll poll the committee. David Billings,
Yes.
Luciana,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
and I am a yes also.
Okay, citizen comments. Do we have any citizens? Any new business? Okay, our next building committee meeting will be on Monday, November 11th.
Al, can I ask a question? Sorry,
Sure.
on the previous slide. I have a question. So, and maybe it's included into the slide with the contingency. Can you go back to the slide, the contingency slide, please? So when you say, so you have the pending change order 149,147. Is this, let's say, 1.2 million, right? The worst case scenario, is that forecasted by the new date of completion of the project?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the new completion is January, what? Is it January still? I'm getting confused.
Yes, no, that's exactly right. So the beginning of January, substantial completion as of the last schedule.
Okay, so you are forecasting that if we say yes to increase additional service for FMA and you guys will still have $1 million left.
Correct.
Yeah,
So both.
$1 million.
Yeah, so that's correct. So both FMAs and Colliers at services proposals are captured in these in the contingency calculation. So yes, so we are forecasting a $1.28 million contingency remaining, including which includes those at service proposals.
Will include yours and all the contractor as well, right?
It includes, yes, all the hard cost change orders, all of these ones that are shown here.
Okay. Do you envision anything between now and January? Do we have a date, like early January, like January 1, January 6?
January 7th, that's of the last schedule.
Okay, okay. Okay, and so maybe something that for the committee, thank you, Al. Something for committee I'd like to think about it is maybe suggest to the town to do some type of ribbon cutting before or January 8th, January 9, whatever it is, inviting the kids from the club and the town and everything else. So that Dick, this is mainly for you or John, or to recommend to the town in general.
Basically, if I understand, invite the community for a tour of the building,
The tour,
prior to its opening.
wedding, but
Yeah.
I would like to make sure we invite the kids from the club.
Yeah,
That's it. Right. And I don't know if the town is
Sorry.
trying to do some, or Ruth, sorry.
Luciana, no, I'm sorry. Excuse me for interrupting.
Oh.
Alec, I wanted to clarify in the schedule. So we've had two recent schedules from the contractor. The most recent one in September did push back the substantial completion to January 28th. And then project completion is March, early March. So Luciana, before you get too far ahead to pick a date, I just wanted to make sure that you're thinking more of the end of January.
Date. I think you can. I think the town should pick a date. So, but he's not.
Fair enough.
So substantial completion. It's at the end of January.
Correct. And I'm pointing this out. So we've had a couple of schedules recently, and this is actually why we're looking at this as a 5-month extension, because with the most recent one that went to, thank you, January 28th. I forget what the previous one was, but I'm just going to point to this one. That's what really got us to a plus 5 months.
The previous one was November 17th, Katie. It's John Jeffries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So we are the end of January. Okay. I just want to kind of track these things. I know it's been pushing change all the time. So it's the end of January. Okay. And then, yeah, substantial completion. Yeah, but you can occupy stuff in the end of January, right? When are we getting the CFO?
So CFO will be a requirement to have substantial completion done. And so technically after that, the owner can move into the building. Yeah,
Okay.
legally occupy the building.
Yeah. So we could move into the building at February 1, basically. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the town should be then thinking about early February to do something. And I don't know how, who's is there another committee that is discussing the opening to operation, like coordinating with all the tenants that can move, because moving tenants, they're all going to be happening after February, right? The building is done, but moving and things is going to happen after. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm.
So is there Dick, is there another committee coordinating with the handover to the facility?
No, Luciano, this is John Jeffries.
Oh,
No, thank you for the question. No, there is no other committee. Where the initial plan was to have a community center director. The director, the idea of the community center director has been temporarily put on the shelf, and no pun intended, because we were focused on the completion of the community center. We had to, from a budgeting standpoint, at last year's budget cycle, we removed that position temporarily. We're still obviously we have to plan and budget for the opening of the building without a current full-time director. It was one of the things that you may recall Bob Springett was adamant about having, that it is a town building, it's a community building, it should have an executive director. We are still committed to that. We did have to acquiesce from a budgeting standpoint and recognize that we had to put that on hold, but we have not abandoned that. What we're doing is trying to coordinate with all the various councils through Michael Blanchard and the Council on Aging, with Park and Rec, and with your committee. So currently we are planning around having all three committees intimately involved without a full-time executive director. So, and it's a work in progress. So that I'm giving you what we have discussed in public and what has been discussed amongst the various committees. Dick, would you add anything to that?
No, I don't have anything to add, John. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Nick. It's we are 3 months away. I think the town should start thinking about the process of occupying the building, and the challenges will happen. The first 6 months they're gonna be critical on operating this building.
Yeah, Luciana, I asked with Dick and I've asked a few people. I don't know if you were in the meeting the last time we did this, but I asked about specifically a clerk of the works type of a role, who goes through the punch list, who's responsible for the building while Al and Katie and the contractors and you are doing all of your things to finalize the building. Who is the person? And Al basically said it is his job and it's the job of Colliers. So we will look to Al, to Colliers, to Iggy, to whoever that is to help with that particular role. Al, did I get that right? Is that was just my giving the overview of our conversation last week.
Yeah, no, so you're right, John. So we'll coordinate all of the closeout of the project, and that includes a punch list of, all the documents that need to be provided at the end of the project, commissioning. So we'll be coordinating all that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you all.
Okay. So just on the future meeting date, since that slide is up, November 11th is Veterans Day. Does that present any issues for any committee members to be present?
Not to me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll leave it on we'll leave it on the schedule then for November 11th. All right. If there's nothing else, well, excuse me, is there anything else for discussion? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll poll the committee. David,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
and Ruth,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. Thank you all very much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
everyone.
Good night.
Good
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you all.